Hey community, welcome back. And if this is your first time here, I'm Dr. Blaire, a doc in clinical psychology, and on this channel we discuss psychology, inspiration, social justice, and all topics in between. First things first, hit that subscribe button. I need to see you back next week, and of course, stay tuned because today we will be discussing 4 ways that you can celebrate Juneteenth. Stay tuned. All right, so 4 ways that you can celebrate Juneteenth. Number 1 is, of course, the most popular. We all like to have a cookout. Now, one thing that's special about having a cookout is traditionally many people who celebrate Juneteenth would have a red item there, and that could be a red drink. I know a lot of people like to take hibiscus tea, or they may take some type of red dye and mix it into their cornbread. Other people have the notorious red velvet cake there. But the history allegedly behind having a red item at Juneteenth was not only because it was part of the flag that we have, and I can put that on the screen here. It is also mainly because most food way back when did not have a red color to it naturally. And so it was a special thing. It was a part of a special moment to be able to get your hands on a red item type food. And so, of course, this is a special celebration, as we all know. And they kind of kept it up in terms of keeping a red item. It is to commemorate that it is a special holiday. Therefore, we want to have special type items. And so historically, that is what I've read is part of the history behind having a red item there. So whatever red drink that you can get your hands on, or even if you want to have some red velvet cake, or maybe you have some different ideas. In fact, put that in the comments if you have other ideas that you and your family have used to make sure that you had a red item there. I know a lot of people like to wear a red color, or even blue, white, and red to commemorate the flag. But many of us like to also have some shade of red on when they celebrate Juneteenth. Number 2 is to pass on the history. You probably will hear this in almost every video I get a chance to preach this principle, but we have to pass on the history. And historically, in Black communities, a lot of our history was passed on through folklores, through telling stories from one generation to the next. The same goes here. We cannot be reliant on our school systems to teach the full history. We have to pass it on to our generations, our younger generations. And I think that it's a very, it could be a special moment to sit them down, if you're at the cookout or not, but sit the youth down and tell them what Juneteenth is and the history of it. And actually, go back before Juneteenth. Why is Juneteenth so important? Why is it important that we celebrate it? Why is it important that it is now a federally recognized holiday? It's important that we treat it special because we cannot expect other communities to treat it as special as it is if we don't as a Black community. So teaching not just the younger generations, but I think it's really important that we just teach each other. Each year I've celebrated Juneteenth, I've run into another person who wasn't quite fully aware of what Juneteenth was. And that's not really a moment to shame them or, tell them you should be shamed that you don't know what Juneteenth is. This is not a moment to kind of make them feel bad, but a moment to educate them, and you could be the person to do that. And remember, there was a time when you and we didn't know what Juneteenth was, and someone had to teach us. And it is an opportunity in power to share that information with another person who may not be aware, whether they're a part of our community or not. Spread the word about what Juneteenth is, because it is a part of American history, and most importantly, it is a critical moment for Black Americans. Juneteenth is amazing, and so we should make sure that everybody knows, right? Right. Number 3 is to go to a Juneteenth program, activity, or festival. I know that many cities hold some type of Juneteenth market where small Black-owned businesses get to come to a market and support one another, and people come and patronize the business. But I think that this is an opportunity for us not only to support each other, but to be in better contact with our African roots. So many times that these type of activities or programs will have African type performance dances or even music, and they'll tell more history around our African roots. And I think it's beautiful because we have to really take the opportunity collectively to learn more about our history and become more attached to our African roots, because it tells a lot about us and our characteristics. And even during this time, a lot of us, we like to, kind of throw on our Afrocentric type of wear and wear it proudly, because it's our way of celebrating our history and celebrating our ancestors. Number 4 is probably the most important, or second most important, because I would say number 2, educating and telling the next generation about Juneteenth is highly important, but this one is just as important. I really can't pick. But number 4 is, what are you doing to honor and celebrate your ancestors? And I know that you all are probably thinking, well, that's the purpose of this video, is to find out ways that I can celebrate Juneteenth. But that's not really what I mean. What I mean is Juneteenth is exactly the day where slaves were able to find out that they were actually already freed. And it is the date that we celebrate it every year, right? Well, then there's a way that we can honor our ancestors in the fight toward their freedom, that and actually the fight against injustices. There are ways that we can do that to this very day. Our ancestors fought for so long and for so many reasons, and there are many fights that we still have now that are similar to the ones then, but what are you actively doing about that? And so my challenge is to every single person who is watching this that is a part of the Black community, or even an advocate for the Black community, that you actively engage in commemorating this celebration, this holiday, not just by celebrating and having fun, not just by, having some good food, but also actively being engaged in justice for the Black community. So that could be donating to an organization who does this type of work. It could be volunteering. It could be doing some political type action. It may be just sharing information online or via social media, which is completely free. It could be by, passing the word or supporting a Black-owned business. But be actively engaged in it and do something from your own perspective that shows that you are going to continue the fight, and that you are going to make sure that your people, that you yourself, that you see justice in your lifetime. And so the only way that you can see that is not by pointing the finger to someone else and holding other people responsible for that, but for you to do it for yourself, right? For you to do it for your family, for you to do it for the children in your family, your grandchildren, for you to do it, to see it in your lifetime. And I know a lot of times we think that means that we have to be frontline marching. That's one way, but there are many other ways. So my challenge to you is to find the way for you to honor your ancestors by continuing the good fight. And as John Lewis said, make good trouble. All right, folks, that's all for today. Please drop into the comments ways that you celebrate Juneteenth, ways that you have before, what do you plan to do this year, and encourage each other. There may be other ideas that you can see in the comments that you can start to adapt or, intertwine into your family traditions. Nonetheless, do something and feel free to take on from this list. God bless.
Go. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth! Happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Share with everyone that you believe would enjoy celebrating Juneteenth. And maybe you can kind of refresh some different ideas that you can be celebrating this holiday with your loved ones. And of course, remember, before you go, if I'm great and you're great, then we're a great community.